Oh yes, my Straight Talk family. Whenever you hear that theme song, you know it is time for another edition of Straight Talk and time for me to bid you a very pleasant night wherever you are in St. Kitts-Nevis and wherever you are throughout the entire Caribbean region. For those of you in the Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to Straight Talk on my Facebook page and YouTube pages. And if you're joining me for the first time, I say welcome, in particular for those first-time viewers and or listeners. And I know that there are many of you all over the world, so I can say good night for those of you. I can say good afternoon. I can say good morning because some of you are in Asia, some of you are in Europe, some of you are in Africa, and I know a whole lot of you are all over North America. So I'm at liberty to extend one of such greetings, which I know will be applicable to you. And Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we tried to raise the level of national consciousness. We tried to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. And Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the p.m. to 8 to 10 in the p.m. And it's a participative program. By that I mean we entertain your calls, we entertain your emails, and if you're so minded to call, the numbers are 646-829-6672 and or 869-663-6672. And for those who like the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform, which is zizstraighttalk, that's one word, at gmail.com. I heard today of the passing of one Mr. Martin. We know him as the big one, and we want to extend our sincere condolences to his family, Curtis, his brother, his wife, and his entire family. And we know that for those of us who know the big one, in fact, was a pioneer in calling into talk shows in its early days, and the big one was never afraid to tell you what's on his mind. That's Alfonso Big One Martin, and we extend condolences to his wife as well, Joycey, and trust that you'll be strong in these times, but just to understand that death is a process. And you know, the big one, as a tribute rather to the big one, we play this soundbite from Alfonso Big One Martin.
How come the Operation Rescue guys, the two of them, stop making noise about the man who built the house on the beach?
Yes, that's a soundbite from Big One talking about the house on the beach. Notwithstanding that, we extend condolences to his family and all those who have lost loved ones, as a matter of fact. Tonight, we'll go straight into our discussion, and I wanted to discuss the topic that I advance, history, is about to be made in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we can all now be a part. We can now be a part of an election or something that will make history in St. Kitts and Nevis, and that is the upcoming elections, premature elections, no matter how it may be. But when we saw the launch of, we saw the launch of the newest party on the block, the People's Labour Party, and there's thousands, I said thousands, witnessed the launch of the People's Labour Party and the launch of, in fact, its 8 candidates at the Greenlands Park on Saturday the 18th of June 2022, to start that historic journey to political, social, and economic freedom, I would say, in our beloved country of St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, some call it the dream team, but I was not sleeping. I was wide awake. And I heard, and what I witnessed, I should say, it was a real team. It was no dream team. It was a real team comprised of the caliber of women and men who are quite capable of taking the country and its people on that journey. It's the first time we have seen or we have witnessed any one political party fielding 2 women, and that's a sign in the right direction, as we always say, that one day a woman is going to lead us. Over in Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party is led by a woman, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. She has one other woman and a man, so that party for the upcoming federal elections would field 2 women and 1 man, thorn between 2 roses. But Saturday gone was a great night, and all 8 candidates were highly commended and well received. For those of us who listened, and for those who were there, and for those who just listened, they were all highly commended on Saturday night. All 8 candidates, I say, were highly commendable as well, starting from number 1 right down to number 8, inclusive, of course, of the leader, number 7. But all 8 candidates, in my humble view, they ought to be highly commended.
Night was a grand night. From number 1 to number 8, they acquitted themselves so very well. For number 1, Jacqueline Bryan must be returned as a people's choice. In number 2, Nubian Griot shall do it for you. In number 3, Aquila. And in number 4, Kendall. He shall restore number 4. In number 5, we got it. Statue has it. And in number 6, I am betting on Dr. Mark Williams. And in number 7, thank God for the people of number 7, Harris again. And in number 8, Talbot Andrew Bass. I commend all 8 all 8 candidates on the People's Labour Party slate.
Yes, my Street Talk family, all 8 candidates, and lots of people are already talking about all 8. But to take the country and its people on that journey, however, requires astute leadership. And the People's Labour Party has already demonstrated that it has the best leader, a leader who has been proven, and a leader who, there's no doubt, can take the country forward, a leader who has been practicing the politics, and his politics is about people.
Throughout my time in public life, that politics is about people. It's about delivering for the people and putting in place policies that make their lives better. Our nation can have a bright and wonderful future. Yes, our future can be stronger and safer if those of us in public life commit to putting country above self. Unfortunately,
and yes, my Straight Talk family, that's the kind of leadership that the People's Labour Party and the country, I can say, do have at this time. Under the leadership of Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, in 2020, just about 2 years ago, the country endorsed the comprehensive development strategy that the Team Unity administration had embarked upon since assuming office in 2015, and gave the Team Unity administration an overwhelming mandate to continue the path of building our beloved federation. It was quite obvious that people were confident in the progress made by the Team Unity administration in reducing our high national debt and the crime rate inherited from the Douglas Labour Party. The people were also confident in the management of the coronavirus, indeed, or rather the coronavirus-induced, I should say, pandemic that brought the entire world to a screeching halt. Never before had the world experienced, or rather never, or rather should I say, it was within over 100 years, a whole century, that the world never experienced a pandemic like this one. But the confidence that the people placed in Team Unity was well placed, as the national debt was reduced from a high of 200% of GDP to the lowest in the Caribbean and beyond, of a 58% debt to GDP ratio. The fiscal policies of the Team Unity administration, under the astute leadership of Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, seem to have already set the stage to withstand the unpredictable fallout of the COVID-19, a pandemic of its kind not seen in over 100 years. But much to the surprise of the Federation, these achievements were nonetheless ignored by certain members of the People's Action Movement, and in particular the leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement. The leader of PAM, Sean Richards, demonstrated scant regard for his collective responsibility as a senior member of the cabinet, which he refused to attend for 91 successive days. And my Straight Talk family, you ask yourselves, what should be done to Sean Richards come next elections when you have that opportunity to vote for Sean. You have to examine his performance.
Yes. You know, look at those who want to lead us. On one hand, you have Partition. Partition who don't show up for cabinet for 91 days. And he sees nothing wrong about it. He doesn't come to represent Sandy Point. He doesn't come to put the case for the start of construction of the Bastia High School, for which we have budgeted $82.5 million over the last 7 years. And we budgeted from our revenue. Money was there, and nothing happened because they're not serious. Shame on them. Too ill-disciplined and too lazy to work. And a lazy deputy prime minister would make an even lazier prime minister. They're not interested in the people. Yes, when he was asked to lead a party, nobody seemed to have told him that it will be a political party requiring hard work and commitment. Having failed the members of their party, they want to blame me. They want me to take responsibility for that. If the party has failed, they must take responsibility. It's they fail the membership. So when they come with the foolishness, how is I undermine my party? You got party?
I was buried
You all abandon the party for greed, for selfishness. That is what has happened.
And yes, greed, selfishness, with all the scandals that have been associated with the name of Sean Richards, you wonder, should he be really in government ever again? We've heard about the guard hut estimated at some $50,000 or $60,000 that the Urban Development Corporation paid one of its directors to construct for $227,000. We heard of the ark that Sean built for Noah, costing Skellig $10,000 per month. So I'm told it costed UDC. We heard of the 25 poles that are not accounted for the Old Road Bay project. And I heard something new, which took me by surprise. I heard as well that Sean built a road that stopped right in front of his mother's house. Well, how else, or how low, or how worse can it get for Sean Richards?
Better quality with the infrastructure. You'll be shaking your keys with proper roads, not a road that you build and stop by your mother's house. Or a representative built a road and stopped by his mother's house. Sandy Point will never forgive you for that.
Well, if other things weren't bad, you understand the representative and former minister of infrastructure, built a road, and it stopped right in front of his mother's house. My Straight Talk family, these are some of the questions you'll have to ask yourselves whenever the date for election is announced and you make your way to your respective polling stations. Nevis can breathe a sigh of relief that they will get rid of a man who means bad news for Nevis, a man who cannot spend money.
Mark who outsmart Sean.
When I see my friends become my enemy.
He can outsmart Sean, but he can't outsmart Timothy. And that is where the problem lies. And so, his problem, apart from the hunger for power, power for its own sake, is that Mark can manage. Since we came in office, we have given Mark more monies than any other premier of Nevis has had. Before our time, no money for Nevis. We started with 30 million. We increased it when Mark come to 45. You understand? 50%. He came, he voted for the budget in 2021, and he said the 45 was good. Then he come in January to harass me. He wants $66 million. I said, Lord, this gonna look good. I said, this is 47% increase. Where in the world those kind of increase happen? And so I said to Mark, Mark, you are spend bad. He said, I have an election coming. I said, you still are spend bad. What I want you to do for me, Mark, is to begin to take some of these additional millions I am spending here for you on your payroll. I didn't tell him he had to do it all at once, but I wanted him to accept the principle that what he was doing was not fair. Not fair to St. Kitts, not fair for you, because every $1 million I gave him that was unbudgeted means $1 million less for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
My Straight Talk family, he is a bad manager when you examine his performance. For 5 years, he has never balanced an NIA budget, always in deficit, always in the red. And it goes up and up and up. For his 2022 budget, he was at $98 million in the red. How can you run a government like that? On the brink of collapse is the Nevis economy. But there's hope. There's hope, my Straight Talk family, in the leadership of Janice Daniel Hodge.
It has been busy, has been. We understand what is at stake. We really cannot allow Nevis to go back under a CCM-led government if we really do care about Nevis and want to see it prosper once again.
If the people of Nevis care about Nevis, then surely I agree with Dr. Daniel Hodge. We cannot afford to go back to Mark Brantley and a CCM government. Mark is bad for Nevis, all about himself and himself alone. And I'm happy that the stance which the NRP is or has promised or committed to take is a stance of non-interference in the politics in St. Kitts.
We are not going to try to decide for have decided. Then, once we're in a position to make a decision regarding that, of course, we would have to respect what the people, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to live harmoniously. And so that is basically where we are. We are trying to do what we have to do, understand that Nevis is our first priority at the end of the day, but understand that Nevis can prosper more if you have a stable federal government and a proper working relationship between the federal government and the NIA than what we have right now.
What we have right now is a premier who cannot account for millions of dollars that was pumped into Nevis by the federal government.
He not telling you it's over $400 million we sent up there. Douglas gave him none. Douglas bounced their check. And we change up all of that. And Mark ain't no good, Mark ain't no good. And every year, the more money given to Mark, the more in the red they gone. He's a bad manager, a failed manager, and that is why he hasn't been able to show the people of Nevis what he has done with the money. So Mark, where the millions of dollars gone? I saw the other day, I still can't believe, Mark had a meeting in Cherry Garden. Lord, they need another word in the dictionary. But that wasn't a proper meeting. That wasn't a proper meeting. But somebody told me that the people were going around Nevis attempting to find where the missing millions had gone. The truth is, the country at this time,
the country at this time cannot take a Mark Brantley. But good news from the PLP. Because Sean Richards, a heartless leader, went around the country disconnecting thousands of people's electricity. If that was not bad, he even disconnected water. Water is life, my people. And he disconnected people's water. Could you imagine that heartless man during a COVID when so much emphasis is being placed on sanitation? Sean Richards disconnected the people's electricity and their water. My approach to that was $1 is better than nothing at all. So if someone can pay $200, why demand they pay $2,000 or $3,000? The fact that they ran up their water and electricity bills tells me that the Skelec and the water department were complicit in this negligence, my straight dog family. But thank God you have a passionate leader like Timothy Harris.
we will be speaking more. Our plans to deliver water to St. Kitts. Our plans for cheaper energy. And I should tell you the other day, the cabinet took a decision that the thousands of people who are disconnected with their electricity, that we will put an end to that. And we said to the Skelec, no more disconnection of poor people. No more disconnection. And for those of you those of you who, that's why I love you too, because I'm a leader with compassion. We're just coming out of the COVID. How could a man be so heartless? Put people to the shame and the indignity and the exposure of their homes in darkness. Their children can't do their homework. Their neighbors have their news all over. You can't lead a country. You can't lead a country like that. And so we have put an end to that.
Yes, put an end to the disconnection of water and electricity. The Prime Minister mentioned electricity, but by inference, I'm sure that means water. How can you be so heartless, Sean Richards? Thank God you're gone, and you have a compassionate leader. And we will deal with the arrears in time to come.
We say going forward though, pay for the current month. Whatever you use, pay for that month. So if you're in a June, you pay for June month. No bother with the arrears, no stress yourself. We're going to tell you when that comes. You in July, you pay for July. No bother stress yourself out, no arrears. When the economy is fully back and track, we will find a mechanism for dealing with that. That is the compassionate leadership that the People's Labour Party promises you.
Yes, my Street Dog family, compassionate leadership. So come next election, when it has been announced, it boils down to the question. One question, my Straight Dog family, of the parties, all the parties that will contest, ask yourselves who or which party you can trust. Can you go back to Sean Richards, his irrational leadership, with a team comprising of his two vagabonds, according to Dumpling Harris, and I saw her on Saturday. Good night, Dumpling. Will you go back to that? Will you go back to a man who has not been to cabinet for over 3 months, cleared the reliction of his duty? You cannot go back to Lindsey Grant and Jonel Powell. Surely, divisions won't go back to Mark Brantley. So, the question we'll ask ourselves, and I want you to examine that question tonight: who do you trust?
The question is, change the economy of St. Kitts-Nevis. Harris again. Harris again. Who do you trust to defend your jobs? Who do you trust to deliver the peace? Who do you trust to deliver the pap? Who do you trust to build your homes? Who you trust to lead our country? Thank you very much. You are bright people. I support your choice.
Yes, we all support their choice. Harris again. So come next election, my Straight Talk family, history will be made in St. Kitts and Nevis, when for the first time a new party will hold, not only new, a new and the youngest party, fastest growing party, will hold the reins of government in St. Kitts and Nevis. Believe me, That is my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. If you disagree, tell me. If you do agree, tell the whole wide world like me. I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. The numbers are 663-6672. If you want to access that number from overseas, of course, you try 869-663-6672. Locally, you just dial 663-6672. For those in the diaspora, there's an overseas line 646-829-6672. For those who like the cloak of anonymity, you have access to my email platform. The address is zizstraighttalk@gmail.com. If you're disrespectful, we'll out you. If not, we won't. But I want to implore all of us, whichever means you use, I want to implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. The lines are open, my Straight Talk family. It's 18 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. Please turn your radios down. I can't take that feedback, honestly. It hurts the ear. If you're calling, turn your radios down. Please listen to the telephone. Again, the numbers are 869-663-6672. The lines are open, and I'll hear your view, my Straight Talk family, and tell me if you will be part of history in St. Kitts and Nevis when the PLP would march into Church Street with the young real team, I call them, inclusive of 2 women and 6 men. But my Straight Talk family, let's just go to the lines and take this call. Caller, you're live. Yes, you're live, my dear brother. Good night. How are you doing? That sounds like the Bible one.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
And how are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Mother, yeah. Because I went to the Iraq Saturday night.
You did?
Yeah. A bus come for me and I went. And Curtis, I am telling you, that is the biggest crowd me ever see for this year. And it seemed like the Douglas Labour people can't themselves. Pamosa. I choose to do decision today. And they just got some carrying on. And brother, them they get a real shock. A shock out of this world. But Patrick, you want to say something tonight here? Listen here. You can't keep a good man down. Somebody come by me landing must be Saturday, Sunday afternoon, and they were talking to me about the next party. And me hear the attack, and I was talking to him. And when he going to go, I can tell you something, yes, my brother. Listen here. Only one party me going vote for, that Timothy Harris. And from the time I tell him so, He talk a little things after, and the man, the fella tell him, come now we go. When me tell him we start me son, and I told him, the Bible says, blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. And I told him again, because he looked like he wanted me to preach to him. I told him, Psalm 37 verse 25, I was young, now I'm old. I neither see the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. That is, I don't beg nobody nothing. My God does supply my need according to his riches in glory. So if you're wrong, you tell you're wrong. You're right, you tell you're right. And that is, it is so good that God have called me and God has to know that Mr. Harris being called by God. And so I don't care what nobody say. Nobody could come by me and chat no more. We'll just straighten you out. And that's one me tell somebody this afternoon. I said, when me go on the radio, me a leg on me mouth. Because if I get back in, I get back in because I got something else to say. So bye. And let somebody continue.
Thank you very much, dear brother. Thanks for your intervention. And I'll share what someone shared to me. A friend of mine said, make sure you do not find yourselves, or yourselves, I should say, on the wrong side of history. Let us go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Good night. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Honorable Patrick Liburd.
How is the People's King? Good evening.
I want to congratulate the Prime Minister and his team. Patrick, what a shock. I never seen nothing like this in history. I've been all over the world following politics, but nothing like this I ever seen in history. And I wish all of them men, the young men and them and the young women them, all the blessing that the Lord have to offer. He could easily take some from mine and give it to them. Because all of them were genius, you know. And I know with the right growing up, maybe from the parents and the schooling and things, they'll make good candidates for the country of Kitts-Nevis. And you have to thank the Prime Minister over and over, he and his team, what he got working with him to bring a cabinet, people like these to form a cabinet for St. Kitts-Nevis. That is all we want to do right now, is go around and assist these young men in winning the seat, the young men and young women. You know, and I know people going to come out to assist them because all of them was good on that opening night. That is, I want to hold up the foot. I ain't got no time to study with them other vagabond right now. You understand me? So I leave them alone. So let me give somebody else a chance so they could come up and bless this team what we have out here leading for government. Thank you, President. Thank the Prime Minister and the government of St. Kitts.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Yes. When we saw the crowd at Greenland's Park, it sure reminded us of 2015 when the Team Unity group was launched and that group went straight into government. I got that same feeling on Saturday. What about you? Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patrick Liburd, brother. How are you?
Your humble servant is peaceful. Yourself, my dear brother Culture?
I'm just like you, man. Anyway, happy belated yesterday.
Happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers. Forgive me for that. All the fathers. And all the men, and all the
That's right.
mothers who are fathers as well. Happy belated.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I want to send out my sympathy to the wife and family of the big one.
Big one, yes.
Yeah, he was one of our brothers, eh? One of our brothers, because he was a Carlin personal like us.
Yep.
So, he has gone to the great beyond until we behind follow him. Now let me put out some reasons why I will support Dr. Harris, because there is no one has done what he has done, and none could come up close to him, and none will ever be able to go in front of him. So all those who are banging a dead horse, save your energy, bang a live horse, and one that is up front, that will hit the crossing line, first or second or third. There's only 3 medals. Dr. Harris, I will support him because he will never go and take no blood money from the people like nobody like Gaddafi. That's one. And he will never rob the sugar workers of the hard, rightful owned money and say he paid them off. Somebody else did. So I can support them and support Dr. Harris. And Dr. Harris will never go to Dominica and get a diplomatic passport and say he ain't got it. Dr. Harris is fit to lead the country because he would not do that. Somebody did that. Dr. Harris will not sell passports to scams and vagabonds all over the world who was warned about those people that come from that country, like Bragadam, who said he get a diplomatic passport for $1 million. He paid for that. He says out him out. Dr. Harris will not involve in those things. So he's the fittest man to lead the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis. And Dr. Harris will not get caught up England in Gatwick Airport with the money that he's not supposed to have on him. And when the dogs start to, when the sniffer dogs smell the money, they start to pull the suitcase and he's saying, "Get away, dog, get away, go, dog." Dr. Harris will not go down that low and get in those things because he's qualified to lead any country because he's honest, he has compassion on people, and he's loving. And therefore, what those people who are against him, because they want him to bend the rules and regulation to serve them in the wrong way, and he ain't doing it. And this last one here before I go, Dr. Harris will never disrespect the law of the land. He will never disrespect the police who are there to enforce the law and rat up no police. He will not do that. Whether he's a prime minister, yes or not, he has respect for people in authority, and so therefore I cannot support nobody who against Dr. Harris because he hasn't done anything wrong. And all they're talking about fair share after 400 million, but why they don't show and say what is the unfair share? I'll come back, Patches. I don't want to hold up the line too long because a lot of time going like tonight here. What a crowd Saturday. What a presentation. What some good-looking people on the stage. God bless the team. I'll be back.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And having witnessed what transpired on Saturday night, and you saw the performance of every single candidate that was presented, tell me, which party would you trust? Would you trust Labour Party, the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party? Would you trust the People's Action Movement when their leader behaved the way he did? Who would you trust to manage the economy of St. Kitts-Nevis? Who would we trust to ensure that our people get jobs? who would we trust to ensure that the peace and tranquility is maintained in our beloved country? You remember we were once labeled as the murder capital of the world. I hate to say that, but it's fact. It is the truth. Remember we were the highest detonation in the world. Who would you trust to really, as I said, manage the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis? It's 5 before the 9 o'clock hour. I go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Caller. Caller, could you just turn your equipment or your radio down? Listen to your telephone. You are live on Straight Up. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, turn your radio down, please. Could you turn your radio down? Caller, are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, what's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Tell me, good night.
Yes, I'm listening to you. Good night as well.
And tell him that Mark Brantley need Sean already run this country yet. Me from Nevis, and when we come and think, in 1960, and Mr. Better take me in and when from take over from window sink it, and Sean already run this country yet. And Mr. Harris, Mr. Movement Harris, that Mr. Harris come on this country and he's going to be Prime Minister, you know. And now he come the Prime Minister and he brings it to something you want. People want some go. But God put him there. And you say until when God has the mood. So tell him I say good night and don't be afraid. I know because you drive up, I work with him already. But you may not remember my voice. So all right.
Okay.
Don't be afraid. You know, walk behind him.
Thanks a lot.
All right, good night.
Thanks a lot for your input. Yes, we not fear. We would not be a fear. We trust in Almighty God because God is the absolute judge, as we said. He's the only one who sets up and, in fact, puts down. So we won't fear man because man fighting every day would swallow you up. But God, as we said, is the absolute judge. It's 2 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. If you're just joined me, our lines are open. We are discussing history that will be made in St. Kitts and Nevis in a few weeks from now. I say a few weeks because I believe that elections would come in a few weeks from now. We have, I think we do have less than 50 days or 40 days. My maths is one of my strongest weak points, so I don't want to venture that call. And the Prime Minister is the one who has the final say. But all 8 candidates were launched on Saturday for the People's Labour Party, and everyone is saying from that launch and the presentation of each candidate that, wow, they're surely going to be all 8. But as I said, history is about to be made in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we all can now be a part of that something that will be history in the making. Thousands witnessed the fantastic launch of the 8 PLP candidates, as I said, at Greenland's Park. And for those of you who were there some 7 years ago, when the Team Unity group was launched, remember that crowd at Greenland's Park back then. Some people are saying the crowd was much bigger. And I'm not good in estimating crowds, but it was a big, big crowd. And we trust that it would translate into votes and take the People's Labour Party into government. Dr. Harris, as was just intimated, is the right leader who has come at the right time. He's a leader who has performed, and no one can question his performance. I find it difficult to believe that anyone can question his performance. He's not perfect, and no man is. The only perfect being that walked the face of the earth was Jesus Christ. So yes, to err is human. But in 2015, remember, we inherited a debt of near $2 billion. Nigh 200% of our GDP. That was the ratio. Debt to GDP ratio was near 200%. Harris, with his fiscal prudence, took it down to under 60%, which is a standard within the ECCB region. Crime was escalating every day under Douglas. I almost said 90. It seemed that way, but it was 35 murders, 35 homicides under Douglas. What was his response? It was like water running on a duck's back. But here we have the peace in our land. But ask yourselves, Saturday, was it the start of that historic journey to political, social, and economic freedom of our beloved country? As I said, some call it a dream team. But I was not sleeping. Certainly, I was fast or full awake. And I saw a real team. A real team of 2 men, or 2 women, beg your pardon, and 6 men. All educated people.
Night was a grand night. They acquitted themselves so very well. For number 1, Jacqueline Bryan must be returned as a people's choice. In number 2, Nubian Griot shall do it for you. In number 3, Akila. And in number 4, Kendall, he shall restore number 4. In number 5, we got it! Statue has it! And in number 6, I am betting on Dr. Mark Williams. And in number 7, thank God for the people of number 7, Harris again. And in number 8, Talbot Andrew Bass. I commend all 8 candidates on the People's Labour Party slate.
Yes, my straight out family. This email reads, "Good evening, Ambassador. History was made on Saturday night. All 7 new candidates gave a good account of themselves. On the other hand, sorry for the loss of homes in Madhouse Alley. Hope they'll find accommodation soon while their homes are being rebuilt. Congratulations are in order for you and your team for a well done job on Father's Day. While others are being malicious, you're sharing the love. Continue with your ministry of giving. Reads that email. Thanks for the support. And yes, the Manhouse Alley fire, fortunately that no one was injured, but it was an empty house, a vacant house I should say, and unfortunately the houses next door were kept intact as well. It's now 5 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Our lines are open, my Straight Dog family, and we are entertaining your calls, but we are also looking, going forward, at history. History will be made. That's the view of everyone. And to take the country and its people on that journey, we do have an astute leader, a leader that has performed, and leadership that understands that politics is about people. And that leader is Timothy Sylvester Harris. And what a leader we have at this time. We could not find a better leader to take our country forward in these difficult times, times that are unpredictable, times that are complex, and times that are uncertain. Who do you trust is the question we ask ourselves. Can you trust Douglas? Can you trust Dr. Jew? Can you trust Pam? Or can you trust my Straight Dog family, others? We say no. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello, man. How are you? Good evening, man. How are you doing tonight?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I want to change the narrative a little bit tonight. We know that PLP has now launched, right? And the unity concept came up, was a new concept for St. Kitts-Nevis. It involved 3 parties, and then now, the narrative was changed, and everybody was looking for this community to really take the country beyond the party politics, right? Now, with the Prime Minister launching and the single party structure of PLP, right? What good is this going to do for the Federation if he wins the election and gets six seats and confirm the election and confirm the government on his own? Where is this going to take St. Kitts-Nevis when people are looking for nationalism? We're not looking for the single party structure anymore. What is your take on this type of stuff? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Caller, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You have your equipment on, no? I'm getting a slight feedback from you. You have
no.
You don't? Okay. But they say questions don't answer questions because you ask yourself, what good if you go back to unity? That is where the distrust now comes.
I'm talking about the single party. I'm talking about the single party structure.
Bimel, please, I listen to you, so grant me the courtesy, please. So you'll ask the question as well. But I think you have to look at the PLP from a different perspective, in that if you look at the people that support PLP, there are people from PAM, there are people from Labour, and there are just young people who are non-aligned, because it's like the new unity in a sense. So I don't necessarily agree with your take, but I respect it, because what has happened, you have found that a lot of people have been or are disenchanted with the lack of leadership coming from Sean Richards, for example. It's shrouded with corruption. He's shrouded with his lack of support for collectivity as a member, and they in fact broke up our team unity. Mark Brantley and Sean Richards. So what has happened? If you hear them saying themselves, you hear Sean saying, "Come home, come back home," Labour is saying come back home. We have the gone. The Labour people have gone to PLP, and so too has the PAM people. So in fact, PLP seem to be the new representation of unity. That's how I respond to your question.
Okay, and before you go, right? Before you go, my second part.
I'm here until 10 o'clock. I'm not going in a place.
But the second part to my concern is, you know, as we see now, right? The people is asking for change and reform, right? Who's going to put the work? Who's going to put the work in to get that change and them reforms done? The things that we call the intangibles. You know, this team unity structure, they didn't touch much of those things that they promised before. You know, who is going to do the work, put in the work to make changes in the Constitution and to have this reform that people is asking for across the board? That's my second part of my concern, and then I'll let you go and listen off the air. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for your input and for advancing your concerns. But very good points that you have raised. But in fact, that I anticipate that the People's Labour Party will shortly release their manifesto, which is something normal, which would outline their commitments to the people. But in fact...
All right, thanks, man. I'll listen off the ear, man. Thanks.
Thanks for your input, and a very good intervention, dear caller. And that's the point. That's the point, and that's how I believe you ought to judge people like Mark Brantley and his CCM party and Sean Richards and his People's Action Movement. Because in fact, they had a majority. They had a 2/3 majority or more in the parliament, which gives them that ability, the capacity to amend the Constitution and introduce the reforms that you're speaking about. But what they did absolutely nothing. All they did was to aggrandize, all they did was look at themselves and not at the country. If, for example, you wanted the term limits, we took it, I say we, because I was part of the parliament back then in 2015, and we took that to parliament, and we lost because we were short of one vote, which had to have come from the opposition benches. And then come 2020, based on the performance of the team unity administration between 2015 and 2020, the people gave these men and women a mandate to move forward and change things in the country. And they did nothing. They started to fight for leadership. This man wants to be prime minister right away. The term had 3 more years. Patience, they say, is a virtue. Why on earth couldn't he wait? He wanted to be prime minister now. And that's what the people cannot trust and should not trust. How can the people trust PAM and CCM when they are the ones who mash up, to use a colloquial term, mash up team unity, mash up what the people wanted? So what has happened is the people from CCM, the people from PAM, and the people from Labour have gone to NRP, no doubt, but certainly in St. Kitts, I can speak for St. Kitts. PLP is made up of People's Action Movement supporters or former People's Action Movement supporters. Think of politics. Think of Alice. Think of Dumpling. Think of Jamdong. They are PAM to their backbones, but they're now saying PLP. Don't let me forget Jackie. Jackie Miss Unity. These are PAM. They have gone to PLP. Look at all those Labour supporters who have gone to PLP. So that's where we have the unity now. Unity is now found in PLP. Yes, if you look at it, you can call it a one party, but it's a party comprising of parties. I put it that way. It's now 14 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, and we are saying, I am submitting that history is in the making. Let us make sure we find ourselves on the right side of history. As I said, under the leadership of Dr. Harris, in 2020, the country endorsed the comprehensive development strategy of the Team Unity administration. And what happened? the people who are greedy mashed it up. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Yes, Patches.
Yes, sir.
Since they come let free the telephone, we're going to use it up. And I just hope that those who like to come in late and take 1, 9 and 10 minutes and talking slow, I hope they come in and fill up these spaces here. Patches, I look at these young, vibrant team that was selected with the executive of PLP. They must remember these same young people. They just have a mock parliament session so that they could take over when the old man go. So if they could have a mock session, why can't they have a real session and be part of the parliamentarian? And that is what Dr. Harris' vision has led him to do. But you know what those losers are doing, Patches? They are going around the island and going to certain people and talk to them and want to take out the camera and say, take a picture with them. And a lot of people refuse them, tell them, no, don't take no picture with me. What you want to do? They say, well, okay, we want you to vote for this party, vote to Pam. And they're trying to convince the people them say, but no Pam, they are, you're gone. You all were there. And the leaders, them mash it up. So all when the leaders, them saying that Dr. Harris earn the money, Pam, they are the ones who earn the money themselves because they neglect the members of them, the members of a certain level of class. They neglected them. And so the people realized that they were all neglected. And they say, you know, baby, let me go over here. The grass over here is green. Let me go over here, go eat grass because you ain't studying me. So when they come in talking about Harris earn the money and come back home, man, if you were treating your animal good, he wouldn't leave you and go. He would not. No, some people believe them are liars, and because they're liars, they're smarter than other people who are not liars. But you asked the Premier for Nevis the other day, I said, well, the agreement that you all signed on the courthouse step, why didn't you bring it down in cabinet and you all discuss it and then have it passed in parliament with governed by the Constitution? Yeah, well, you see, we trust Dr. Harris. Yeah, you trust Dr. Harris, but it doesn't matter who the Harris are, nobody. Word of mouth agreement is not guarantee. When you sign, have it governed by the Constitution, and if they breach that agreement, then you can discuss with them. But you didn't have it under the Constitution because he know every minute that was his intention to come back and beg and beg and beg after the budget has been agreed upon in December. All of them say it was a wonderful budget. But how come now after the budget you come in talking but you want more and you want more? Because he know it was only a shaken and a small agreement. And Patches, if you give me the house to build and I give you the estimate cost to build it, and I ask for a certain amount of money, and you give it to me, and I come back to you before the house could even half and tell you, well, I run out of money. I gonna have to show you, well, what I did with the money for that money for now. So when Dr. Harris said that he gave him 400 million by right, even people who cannot see would want to see where the 400 million spent. Did Nevis Island administration build a hotel? So then the money run out, so he got to come back from work. Well, I could understand that. But what he has to show is blue shoes that he boasting on, and the expensive socks, and he watch.
Okay, Carl.
When people in Nevis are struggling to get ends meet for a week, and he come boasting about socks and shoes and watching all kind of foolishness. As a leader, that is an insult to poor people who need help. Patrice, thank you. If nobody calling, I will come in. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you very much for your input. We go back to the lines. We go straight back to the lines. Caller. Let's see. Caller, I'm sorry about that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi. Patrice, good night.
Good night, my dear brother. Politics, how about thou?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just here listening as usual and listening to back them clips. Not put the people intact, you know? Keeping the people intact. But of course, I want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of Kitts-Nevis, a country we are born into and living up to now. I'm doing well for myself and do what I can do to help others out there who in their strain, especially those who don't in the infirmary, those who in the hopeless home, even in the prison. Sometimes I get a contribution in the field. You know, I do that because I'm a real love of my country, and I will do anything when it comes around Kitts-Nevis. Now, Patches, I listen to you, and I believe that our people here are real, first-class, educated citizens of this country. And so, secondly, I want to commend Dr. Harris and his PLP team. Patches, watch a concert, watch a opening of the candidate them here launch at Greenland. Patches, I believe that history going to make in sync it very soon, sooner very soon. Because Dr. Harris has showed when he had 6 men around him trying to undermine him, he was still able to do what he got to do for a country with surplus and doing everything. And he will get it done with these men and women who he pick in the team unity to run. Because let me tell you, we had enough lawyers, we had enough of them lawyers in politics, campish and smart, and feel like the core will go smart. The electorate, when you go to them, tell you all kind of nonsense. When they're making deal with other this and other that, we don't want no more that. We want people like Talbot, a man who starts from scratch. A man who starts from scratch, Patches. We want people like Akila Byron Nisbet, an educated, dedicated woman. I believe that she will be the premier leader for this country, the first female leader for this country. We want people like the young boy, Lubian, young day, not night. I believe that he could do well because he went to Upper University and he's doing good in whatever he's doing, in trying people in Central Bastia, and that is so good. We want people like the young man down there, number 6. We want people like him because he's a man, a doctor. I think he's our fisheries or something. I believe those people will make a great input. And to Jacqueline Bryant and to and the guy in Sunny Point, the guy for Candyman. Those are people come from humble beginning, Sashio. Yeah, humble beginning. And I believe that he will make a great impact with those young men and women in cabinet to represent the constituency. No more going into coming out and radio and board as a deputy leader, as a deputy prime minister for this country. Go so much money, go much bank you make, how much loan you take, how much this that and how much that you do. Yeah, how much people in the federation are the people who say what he do. That is where they're going to government to boss. And boss how much expensive tax they could buy and how much expensive tax they could do. Patches, I want the people of this country to stop, look and listen. We got to move on, Patches, and according to the call we call it from overseas. We in unity still now. We in unity still because anyone when people say the politics, I don't want to unity now, I don't want to unity now. Now give me something, man, I don't want to unity now. Give me something, no? Especially the young people make me die. I say, give me something, man, I don't want to unity. I say, yeah, man. Unity, PLP. We is one still because PAM and Labour combine together, supporters combine together, and we'll keep Dr. Harris here with the PLP, and then we'll make a big difference in the creation of things. Thank you, have a wonderful night. May God bless.
Have a wonderful night as well, my dear brother. And yes, it's PLP. is the real unity. And you know, you hear this talk about undermining PAM, and I am baffled when I hear that story about undermining PAM, because in fact, when you look at the boards, the important boards in this country, look at SCASPO. Who was the chairman of SCASPO? Damon Hobson. Was he a Labour or a PAM? Ask yourselves. Who is the current chairman of SCELEC? Don Boncampo. Is he a Labour or a PAM? Look at the Social Security Board, Jimmy Pistano. Is he a Labour or a PAM? Look at UDC, Stephen Duggars. Is he a Labour or a PAM? Big PAM, all of them. So how is PAM being undermined? Look at the Deputy Governor General, or the individual who acts as Deputy Governor General. Is he a Labour or PAM? Big PAM. So how is PAM being undermined? That behoves me. Caller, I want to thank you for holding you alive. It's 26 past 9 o'clock. History is about to be made.
Yeah, I don't know. Some history was made today, right? Where they are building the new prison. The Honorable Sean went down on the site where the people them are building the prison and arguing, want to know what they're building there and why it costs so much. But he forget he never going to cabinet to find out what's going on. So he gone down there arguing with the people. And then from down there, they call a certain radio show. You understand me? And talking. So I had to call in. Because the man for the radio show is just like me. We are no stranger to prison. And we know the prison in Bastille is overdue. You understand me? So the fact remains, I don't know if he went down there to accommodate a room for himself. They could have talked to them and said, well, look, build a room on the side for certain dignitaries that I can go there. When I get caught up, instead of going to 1840, he go down to the new prison. But the whole trouble about it, and the host acting like, well, he ain't know what's going on. And he ain't no stranger to the prison system. He know the jail been supposed to be built long time ago. You understand me? All the ministers, all of them know that the jail was supposed to be, but they just want to make trouble. It's problem they are creating for the police department. You know, they ain't got no respect for the police. So they are creating problems for the police, you know. But I sure it's time enough for them to go up, you know. And that, well, as I could tell you, but that is so many things to say. But there's a lot of people want to congratulate you, the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister team for the good thing they do on Saturday. So I will yield to them again. Good night to everybody.
Yes, good night. That's the people's king, King Rockefeller. And, you know, I was hoping that Sean Richards could come to the country and tell the country why the Bastille High School was not constructed. He was the Minister of Education for 5 years. And I do have a letter written by Sean Richards himself to the contractors of the Bastille High School. I do remember as well when Sean Richards had his posters, his billboards, coming soon, the Bastille High School. Where has it gone? You ask yourself. Scholar, you are live. Hello, caller. Could you just turn your radio down, please, caller?
Mr. Patrick?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, John. Why you always have your radio so loud, man? Yes.
Hey, Mr. Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Listen here. I am telling you something.
I am telling you something tonight. I know the God that I serve. Everybody meet me and tell me, my Bible man answer me. I know the God that I serve, Mr. Patrick. Psalm 75, you hear me? That promotion neither come from the east, nor the west, nor the south. Promotion come from above. And when you hear people believe to themselves, they could really tamper on God work. Who God bless, no man curse. Mr. Harris did not put himself in office. In 2015, there was a divine intervention. I know that. And before that, I tell Mr. Harris, we was into a meeting. And before 2015, I tell Mr. Harris, you are going to be the Prime Minister of St. Kitts-Nevis. Now, he don't reveal to me long time. And I can tell you now, the Bible says, the Spirit of the Lord to them that fear Him. Now, I don't care what nobody say. People could say all what they have to say. But let me tell you something, you know. God is not a man that he could lie. What God do, He well done. And listen here. He said, there is no God before me, and none gonna come after me. So, Mr. Patrick, if God removes Saul after his throne and put little David there, and before God do that, God tells Samuel, don't look at their faces, and I look at the heart. And I'm saying, just what happened in the Bible days, not gonna happen. So God, me ain't have to worry over nothing. It's today, Saturday, that somebody come and was talking to me, and I have to put them straight. And I am saying, me gonna stand up, and me gonna pray, and me gonna talk to the Lord, and so me not have no problem. I don't tell people. I tell somebody one day, one thing gonna happen, that Mr. Harris is going to win election. And you know what happened? The thing at the Queen of Park, a lot of people were fighting himself, because I could tell you, he backfired and hit all of them who was really getting after Mr. Harris. He hit all of them a hard clock, because they were trying to work that he couldn't get the 8 candidate, but God more than them. So now he get the 8 candidate. They're frustrated. And so I am telling you, God is a God. He don't tell lie. God will tell Samuel and tell Saul. God tells Saul, he's not a man that he lie. And he says stubbornness and rebelliousness and all them. So when God tells you do something, you got to do it. And Mr. Harris is not going to move from there until Mr. If God do something, what is Mr. Harris do something what is wrong, God is going to chastise him. and remove him. But God, Mr. Harrison, I do not lie.
Okay, got you, my brother. Thanks a lot.
You take care.
Thanks a lot for your input tonight. Let's go back to the lines. Okay, we seem to. Yes, caller. Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller? Yes, caller.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, caller, you're live.
Good evening, everybody out there in Radio Land, and good evening, my friend, servant, ambassador, Ian Patrick Liburd. How are you this evening?
I am peaceful, my brother Envo, my brother for life. And yourself?
Well, I am doing well, and listening this, and I have to tell you that my admiration of you, in spite of our political differences, will continue to mount unabated, because I understand much better than you might think why you do the things that you do.
Well, the admiration is mutual, be assured.
And I want to let you know tonight, though, that, and I thank you for saying that, and I'm assured of this, actions speak louder than words. But I listened as I heard you repeating and replaying what happened a couple of days ago. I was catapulted backwards, and I thought while listening that those who promise too much invariably under-deliver too little. I know that you will agree with me on this. But Dr. Timothy Harris steadfastly looked that colorful audience in the eye and promised them that he would deliver all 8 this time around. Does that seem feasible to you? Somebody close by had to pick my jawbone up from the ground and hand it back to me. Some of us are listening and some of us are thinking like people like the now defunct Deputy Prime Minister Eugene Hamilton. I passed him tonight when I went up by the grocery store, and he was just a sad, dejected, lonely figure, I thought, alienated from God himself and his constituency. And you know, I wanted to ask him, but I didn't. Is this the best report you have to give? Scrambling to the top, trampling over all and sundry to get there, breaking all the rules, only to discover, as so many others have, that when you get there, there is no there. And you know, my friend, it's a message that the now scattered principles of team unity have yet to digest. Because after 7 long years, we can still observe appalling and graphic evidence that, in short, somewhere along the way, team unity has sought ingenious ways to substitute people and national development to their own personal development and self-aggrandizement. Our soul protects us against anarchy.
was wrought up by a midget, one of your very own, a swindler, by court conviction, and the man who would be king has hands like a sieve, a strainer, to which money disappear without his knowledge or consent. And as for the chief villain, if you listen to the other two parties, who have already successfully broken asunder the original Labour Party that has since mended and the Team Unity Coalition that is irreparably and permanently damaged, he will be checked, I can assure you, before he succeeds in destroying the cohesive structure of society without remedy. I don't have to enumerate their many sins. The perpetrators are bearing their souls before us. Speaking from first-hand knowledge, I end with this anecdote, which I think has special relevance to us tonight. 3 men visited a prison, 2 millionaires and a sage, a man with a heightened consciousness. The first said, "Your food is horrible. I would handle the menu from hence the convicts shared." The second one said, "Your sleeping quarters are deplorable. I'll supply all the mattresses from hence." The convicts danced, hooted, and hollered. Finally, the sage, the man with the heightened consciousness, looked at them and said, "Your condition is unnatural to nature, being confined. So I leave you a skeleton key to walk out of hell and into freedom." At which point the convicts stampeded. You got to know that you're in prison before you can have a desire to be free. We are not all deluded, and with all due respect, my friend, you came to ameliorate the conditions of a hard-pressed people, and I applaud you for this. But Dr. Drew and the candidates of the 90-year-old Labour Party, they come with the stupendous offering of freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from confusion, freedom from infighting, and all of the rest that have fostered so much hatred, division, and national perplexity. The choice will soon be ours. What shall our decision be? Think about it carefully.
Can I ask you a question?
I always tell you.
Can I interrupt you, my brother?
Certainly you may.
I know you're never out of words, but I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity in your response. Give me your response in about 10 seconds. I'm sure you can with your capacity.
I will.
Do you believe that it is feasible that Labour can get all 8, the party you support?
No party is going to get all 8.
That includes Labour?
No party that I see around here.
No, that includes, the question was, do you believe that Labour can get all 8? Yes or no?
The demographics have changed, and I just answered you. I said I don't believe that any party can get all 8. But what I do know is that nobody will join up with Timothy Harris that negate him from the equation ever again having the leadership of this nation.
Your basis for that conclusion is that demographics have changed? That's what you're saying?
Yes, because right now we have 3 parties, 3 parties is not 2. I said we have 3 parties contending for the vote, and remember that Pam has already taken back their votes that they gave to Timothy and the other party, Akila Byron, who ran with him. Because we had a standing rule that we are the one runs the other will not.
So let me ask,
and it was honored, yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. But let me ask you one more question. Both Labour and PAM are yearning to their supporters to come back home, which suggests to me they have gone someplace. Where have their supporters gone to?
Both what?
Both the People's Action Movement and the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, that's the leadership of these parties, have both asked their supporters to come back home. You've heard that, right? From both leaders.
Yes.
So where have their supporters gone to? Haven't they gone to PLP? Where have they gone to?
Like myself, all of us got seduced by this stupendous proposition offered by not PLP, but PLP, PAM, and coalition, and CCM in coalition. That has fragmented. It's not working.
So where have their supporters gone to? Was the question. Where have their supporters gone to? Which party?
They went to Team Unity.
They went to Team Unity, but PAM and CCM are part of Team Unity. PAM was part of Team Unity, so where has PAM supporters gone to?
Well, remember that nobody won against PAM, went against Aquila, and nobody in PAM went against Timothy Harris.
Okay, I'll give you 10.
Know that you were part of us.
I'll give you 5 seconds
you
to
still are part of the fragmented Team Unity team. So you can't ask. That's a rhetorical question, is it not?
I'll give you 5 seconds since I interrupt you for your conclusion. 5 seconds to conclude. Are you there?
I conclude by saying nobody ran against Timothy, the PAM supporters. They didn't run against Timothy, and they didn't run against Aquila Byron.
Okay.
Now, when those people are withdrawn, remember that his base was built upon the coalition. It's an uphill battle all the way. But again, you're going to come back to me, and you are going to really commend me for my foresight and political perspicacity, even though I operate without portfolio. Good evening, folks.
Good evening, my brother. Dear brother Enver. He has prophesied quite a lot. And we go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. So,
we need Robert Bratcher, our first national hero. He was a doctor. I made to understand he come out of sinking sugar factory as well ever he was doing up there and coming to politics. Mr. Mike was the the deputy prime minister in this country. He never a doctor. Mr. Richard Keynes was an elected senator in parliament.
Appointed.
He was a mechanic, come from the factory sector, and went in his own business and do what he got to do. And he was the Minister of Finance, controlling the country good. Under the ministry with the Prime Minister. He wasn't a doctor. Dr. Joe went to university, go study medicine, and go study doctor to attend to people. It's the same thing they were saying about Dr. Douglas too. Oh, Dr. Douglas is the right man, this and that, and see what happens. You understand? So parties me disrespect nobody for what they be and what they want to be. But only Dr. one could come and be this and be that. What about our ordinary people who work in the sugar industry? The ordinary people who do farming. Oliver Spencer don't think run for farm in number 4. And he put up a good fight. And he's a common fisherman. So why this doctor all the time? How do you tell, sinking people, and we ain't a fool. And nobody go come out with a big word and twist nothing and think people. People like me, who got a little business, family little animals, them and doing well for myself. Me no have a big university education in the but some of them come on. And I live in a good life, some of them are entire little person here to cut a little land for me and do whatever they could do for me. You understand? That my little animal, them raising. And I ain't talking for nothing for no political party to get in there to get nothing. I get a job or nothing. You understand? You got some people that start because if they feel up in the party, when the party gets in money, will come so. Our work gon' come so, this gon' come so. We got to do it for ourselves. And such is you got to got some limit time on some of these scholars, especially the last one here. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a program, but after you. Such is over no politics again. God bless.
Have yourself a good night as well, my dear brother. Let's not get to that area. That's the prerogative of the host. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Okay.
Greetings, sir.
How are you doing? Patches?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
You giving thanks. I'm here still holding it.
Oh, that's
I
I
just like to make a good night to the listeners. Where radio and internet. You see? How your discussion going tonight?
Pretty good. You know, the exchange of views are healthy always.
Okay. Well, I would just like to say, your format is what you're basing in details to make the people understand the educational prospect in what you're bringing out to maintain the safeguard of our development of our nation in economic and social well-being.
Is that a question?
I'm asking you if that is that you're expanding on.
Well, we actually tonight I posited the view, I advanced the view that history is about to be made in St. Kitts-Nevis, and we all can be part of something that will be making history, and that's on the basis of the youngest and fastest growing party that launched its 8 candidates on Saturday. I don't know if you do take time out to listen to those meetings.
I'm following up everything right now, for the package.
So
yeah?
But I'm just, I don't know. You have clarified that. So
yeah, I don't think, because, let me say this here. I'm hiding from nobody. Because, I don't vote, so I'm hiding nothing to expand and making it sound like you know going on. Let me just say this is clear.
Well,
putting this in full context. Let me put it in full context. We are here to maintain and see that our people be fully aware in how to pursue when it comes to social and economic, and even in the context of our people being spiritual to the well-being of the divine creator. Now you are putting this on the front burner as just politics is being a change in our lifestyle. You use the word history in the making. You use that word just now. Well, I say tonight, let us bring a better formality to understand how we will be able to change in the context of how history we will be making in our place, as we see now climaxing the political arena. Because that's the emphasis that we bring in only to safeguard us. We are going beyond our zone of understanding the troubles ahead of us. So let us educate the people properly. What are patches? I know you can do it. I know you can do it. I mean, trying to ask you for it. We're just saying it's time now we bring it fully to the awareness that we cannot be continue being fooled by political parties and politicians. If you all are serious of changing the magnitude of how our people living in the condition that we are facing on here, let us bring it to the full context. Because I'm over here in the 10-mile parish of Tabernacle, where the Prime Minister set us ground is. Well, Rastaya is learning hard, and we're learning hard to speak, and our people have understanding and knowledge. What you're saying, Mr.
Rastaya, our discussion goes back many years. And what was advanced that on Saturday was the start to a historic journey to political, social, and economic freedom in our beloved country. And I always tell you, the fact that you do not exercise your constitutional right to vote, and that is your right to choice, not to vote. I always tell you, it's good people like you who give us bad governments when you don't vote.
What a joy to you just speak. Let me just say this here,
Go ahead, because
I always tell you the truth, you know. Good people like Ras Aya who don't vote give us bad governments. I'm serious.
But that's your interpretation to your life, Lord. I wouldn't discount your speak on because that's your term. But I will tell you this here straight after that. We are not waiting for government to be on the context of how they're behaving. We are saying it's time now we bring the farmer to a better tone in our people livelihood and not just some people. Because if this is the condition we want to continue putting the people in this kind of bad behavior, we are not ready for service. You all have a safe night. Blessed love.
Blessed love, my dear brother. Ras Aya is gone 10 miles out of his hometown in Newtown, and I always admire his assertiveness, you know, his resolute approach to issues, and his firmness, frankness. But the truth is, really, as I said to my dear brother Ras Aya, he has that right, has that choice not to exercise his franchise, but I believe, like I said to him, it's a sacred right that our people died for, shed blood for, all over the world. And since our since our adult suffrage, since adult suffrage in the 1950s, our ordinary people have been given that right to vote. Our ordinary people have now that right to represent, to be elected into representative parliament. You see that on the PLP stage on Saturday. Ordinary people from humble beginnings, not like the other party that has 4 or 5 lawyers. No, ordinary people, ordinary business people who have have come from humble beginnings. It's 3 minutes before 10 o'clock. As we wind down, caller, I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity.
Okay, that is,
yes, sir.
If we don't vote for people, how can things go right and good in a country? We have to vote, use our democratic rights, vote to put people to govern the issues and how the country is supposed to run. Now, enough of that. Now, Patches, if you have a building company and the company has 7 men working for that company, and before the house could halfway, 4 of them stop work because they want to undermine the builder of the job. And he fire them. And then they come back to you, the owner, and tell you, give them the job. Would you give them the job? No. Because they're there. And they were supposed to work with the boss and the owner of the company to make sure they don't build and finish in time. The time that he give the owner, that he will give them the house. But they cut short before the time up. And to break down, to mash up the company, and then they'll come back now and tell you, give them the job. That is what happening here. These people here, they were in power in the office with the government, with Dr. Harris as ministers, and they try to undermine him and mash up the country. And now they're coming back telling people, vote for them, and you go there and you mash up a good thing, unity. That is, in the sake of time, good night until Thursday. You have a good night.
Yes, good night as well, my Straight Dog family. We're going to wind down tonight's program, and I'll perhaps take one more call before we wrap. But if you join us late, we look at history in the making. And as my friend warned me, I'm going to implore you not to be on the wrong side of history. Because history will be made come next election. There are some people who are of the view that we will never have or get an all-8 result in St. Kitts. But truth be told, I will never rule out that, irrespective of what we have said about the change in demographics and what have you. But the fact is, it happened before, and it can happen again. That's the premise I'm going to take. And when I looked at the turnout, the energy, the momentum, the thousands that witnessed the fantastic launch of the People's Labour Party candidates at Greenlands on Saturday, the 18th of June, that was the start of an historic journey to political, social, and economic freedom once again in our beloved country of St. Kitts-Nevis. We saw that in 2020, albeit it was marred with some differences in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic and the freedom of movement in some cases. Yes, that's a fact. But go back to 2015, that's the energy, that's the collegiality, that's the friendliness, everything that was good, everything that was togetherness in 2015, and Team Unity left Greenlands Park and went straight into Government House, or Government Headquarters, I should say, on February 2015. And I got that feeling, a similar feeling on Saturday, that PLP would leave Greenlands Park, or would have left Greenlands Park on the way to Government Headquarters on Church Street in Bassett Hill, under the leadership of Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris. Harris came in 2015 and reduced or literally eliminated the public debt left by a drunken sailor. Crime, he dealt with that and reduced that as well. We have peace in our land. The COVID-19, that pandemic was managed so well and still being managed well. And all kudos to Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris and his team. But no team, there's no good team without a good captain. And no one can dispute that Timothy Sylvester Harris is a good captain. Make the comparisons. Is there a better captain than Harris? Hell no, the people would say.
Manage the economy of St. Kitts-Nevis. Harris again. Harris again. Who do you trust to defend your jobs? Who do you trust to deliver the peace? Who do you trust to deliver the pap? Who do you trust to build your homes? Who you trust to lead our country? Thank you very much. You are bright people. I support your choice.
Yes, everyone supports that choice. Harris again. Can you go to this man?
They went down to the sea. They tried to put my name in something that I didn't know anything about. The premier of Tatola got himself in some issues, a friend of mine. They tried to associate me with it. They say, how I have paid off for my house in Crabbill. Yes, I have paid off for my house in Crabbill. I have a villa that I purchased over at Horizons. I borrowed the money from Horizon Bank, from Republic Bank to pay for it. I have a mortgage that I pay of over $6,300 a month in respect of the villa. I have piece of land I purchased over Half Moon. That's why I got all kind of vehicles. I ain't got thing to hide. That's why I got accounts all over the place.
Well, we're going to leave him to take care of his real estate and his account according to him. The country has no need for such leaders. Leaders who do not respect the principles of collectivity and refuse to attend cabinet. The country has no need and no room for leaders like this one as well, my Straight Talk family.
Oh, it's over $400 million we sent up there. Douglas gave him none. Douglas bounced their check, and we change up all of that. And you know, Mark ain't no good, Mark ain't no good. And you know, every year, the more money given to Mark, the more in the red they gone. He's a bad manager, a failed manager, and that is why he hasn't been able to show the people of Nevis what he has done with the money. So Mark, where the millions of dollars gone? I saw the other day, I still can't believe, Mark had a meeting in Cherry Garden. Lord, they need another word in the dictionary. But that wasn't a proper meeting. That wasn't a proper meeting. But somebody told me that the people were going around Nevis attempting to find where the missing millions had gone. The truth is, the country at this time.
The country this time cannot take another mark. And Janice Daniel Hodge is so correct.
Well, it has been busy, has been hectic, but you know, we will persevere because we understand what is at stake. We really cannot allow this to go back under a CCM-led government if we really do care about Nevis and want to see it prosper once again.
If Nevisians want to see Nevis prosper once again, they cannot allow a Mark Brantley back in office. And the people in St. Kitts, we cannot afford to have a reckless minister with responsibility for infrastructure and public utilities to wantonly disconnect your land and your water. Cannot afford that again.
We will be speaking more about our plans for the future. Our plans to deliver water to St. Kitts. Our plans for cheaper energy. And I should tell you the other day, the cabinet took a decision that the thousands of people who are disconnected with their electricity, that we will put an end to that. And we said to the Skelec, no more disconnection of poor people. No more disconnection. And for those of you who, that's why I love you too. Because I'm a leader with compassion. We're just coming out of the COVID. How could a man be so heartless? Put people to the shame and the indignity and the exposure of their homes in darkness. Their children can't do their homework. Their neighbors have their news all over. You can't lead a country. You can't lead a country like that. And so we have put an end to that.
And I believe we should also put an end to the disconnection of people's water. Water is life. How can Sean be so heartless to disconnect people's electricity and their water when the Water Services Department and government and Skelec were complicit in these things? That's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Straight Talk family, because my time is done and I've got to run. But history, come next election, will be made in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I posit the view that when for the first time a new party, the fastest growing party, will hold the reins of government in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that's my story tonight. And I am not going to change it. It boils down to who will you trust to manage your economy? Who will you trust to defend and create more jobs? Who would you trust, my Straight Talk family, to continue delivering the peace in our land? To continue delivering the poverty alleviation program? To build new homes? Who do you trust to lead your country? Those are the pertinent questions we have to ask. I thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I thank you, the callers. I thank you, the emailers. I thank all those who join me on social media, Facebook and YouTube, on my pages, and on the SKN or the Voice of the Caribbean as well, my Straight Talk family. But just remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason I say a big, big thank you. Thursday, by the way, the 2022 Music Festival kicks off. So we're going to take a break on Thursday night, and God's willing, we come back on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, have yourselves a wonderful music festival and a wonderful weekend when it comes. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And keep moving on. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family, until we connect on Monday.